Imagine, waking up at like 3 in the morning. Your phone is just vibrating off a nightstand.
Oh, that is just the absolute worst feeling.
Right. You squint at the screen,
Yeah.
and your stomach just completely drops. Your biggest client's e-commerce site is completely offline.
And they are probably losing money by the second.
Oh, yeah. Like for every single minute it stays down, they could be bleeding something to the tune of $5,000. And honestly, the absolute worst part of this entire scenario.
Let me guess. Your agency built the site.
Exactly. Your agency built it. So they aren't, calling up the hosting company to yell at them, and they aren't blaming the software developers. They are furious, and they are blaming you.
Yeah, I mean, it is the ultimate nightmare scenario for literally anyone running a service business. You spend months, maybe even years, right, courting a client.
Right. Building all that trust.
Building trust, delivering this beautiful digital product. And then all of that goodwill can just evaporate in a matter of hours.
Just go.
Yeah, gone. All because of something happening entirely behind the scenes that you didn't even catch.
Well, that terrifying dynamic is exactly what we are unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into a really fascinating briefing document put together by the team over at Viral Chili.
Yeah, this is a good one.
It is. It's called 6 Client Retention Problems. White label WordPress maintenance services help agencies fix. And the core mission of our dive today, for you listening, is exploring this massive, often completely fatal gap between what an agency promises during that honeymoon pitch phase.
When everything's perfect.
Right, when everything is perfect. The gap between that and how the deliverables actually hold up over the long haul.
The reality of it.
Yeah. We're going to look at how delegating this incredibly unglamorous, gritty work of website maintenance to an invisible, ghost team can actually be your ultimate secret weapon for saving those client relationships.
Because retaining a client, I mean, it isn't just about good account management. Like, you can't just take a client out to a fancy lunch.
Nor send a nice holiday gift basket.
Right, exactly. You can't just send a basket and expect them to stick around if the actual foundation of what you built for them is actively crumbling. True retention is really about eliminating that technical friction.
The stuff that makes people feel neglected or panicked.
Yeah. The operations absolutely have to align flawlessly with the promises you made to them on day one.
So I want to start by looking at what triggers that panic, because the Viral Chili brief makes it really clear that there is, a hierarchy of fears here.
A panic tier list, basically.
Yeah, totally. And at the absolute top of that list for any client is a hack or a catastrophic crash. I mean, a breach isn't just a minor annoyance where a page loads slowly.
No, it's so much worse.
It means their customer data is just out in the open. It means massive reputation damage.
Legal liability, too.
Oh, absolutely. Legal liability. In a lot of cases, the cost of just recovering from a serious hack can easily exceed what they originally paid your agency to build the website in the first place.
And the scale of that threat is what I just find staggering in this report. If you look at the source document, it points out that in the year 2025 alone, there were 11,334 specific vulnerabilities that hit the WordPress ecosystem.
Wait, 11,000?
11,334. And that is not, an annual total of individual attacks.
Right.
That is over 11,000 unique doorways that hackers discovered to break into websites just in a single year.
That is just wow.
It is a relentless daily barrage.
And when those doorways get forced open, or a site just buckles under the pressure and crashes, the financial bleed is immediate.
Oh, yeah.
The data here shows that downtime costs can reach up to $5,600 per minute for large enterprises.
Per minute? That's just wild.
Right. At that rate, an hour offline is a totally crippling financial blow. To put this in perspective for you listening, it's kind of like going to a dealership and buying a top-of-the-line luxury car.
Okay, I like this analogy.
You pay top dollar, the leather smells great, the paint is completely flawless.
Yeah.
But the dealer neglects to mention that they permanently deactivated the alarm system.
Oh, no.
And there's this weird glitch where the engine might just stall out while you're merging onto the highway. So when your car gets stolen out of your driveway or leaves you stranded in traffic, you are going to blame the dealer.
Well, yeah, you're blaming the person who handed you the keys, absolutely.
Right.
But let's look at why the agency leaves the car vulnerable in the first place, because it usually isn't malice, right? It's a structural flaw in their business model.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Most creative agencies or development shops, they simply lack the bandwidth for 247 monitoring. I mean, their entire operation is built on creating things.
Right, designing, writing code.
Exactly.
Okay.
Running marketing campaigns. They are not cybersecurity watchdogs working a graveyard shift.
But the client doesn't care about the agency's internal staffing problems. Like, at all.
Not even a little bit.
They just know they paid 50 grand for a machine that is now completely broken. So if an agency can't realistically staff a 24-hour security team, how do they stop the client from just walking away?
They utilize an invisible shield. This is where a white label maintenance partner, like the teams discussed in the Viral Chili document, really steps in.
Okay.
They operate completely in the background, like they never interact with the client directly, but they are continuously monitoring global uptime, and they deploy what's called a web application firewall, or a WAF.
Okay, let's pause there for a second because I hear that acronym thrown around a lot in tech.
Yeah.
What is a WAF actually doing in practice?
Okay, so think of a WAF like a highly trained bouncer at the front door of a very exclusive club.
Okay.
This bouncer has a constantly updated list of every single known troublemaker in the city. Before traffic or, a person is even allowed to touch the doorknob of the website, the bouncer checks their ID.
So they're screening everyone.
Right. And if it's a malicious bot looking for one of those 11,000 vulnerabilities, the bouncer just turns them away at the street level.
So they don't even get to the door.
They never even see the door. And then you combine that with intrusion detection, which is essentially, the internal security cameras scanning the rooms for anything the bouncer might have somehow missed.
Right, catching the sneaky ones.
Exactly. These ghost teams catch the vulnerabilities and apply the security patches before the client or even the agency that hired them ever realizes there was a threat.
So the agency is essentially outsourcing the panic.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like an insurance policy. But, unlike regular insurance that just cuts you a check after your house is already burned down to the ground.
Right, when it's too late.
Exactly. This team is actively standing in your living room 24 hours a day just holding a fire extinguisher.
A fire extinguisher you never actually have to look at. I mean, clients who feel that level of security, who never have to experience a $5,600 a minute panic attack, they simply don't shop around for a new agency.
Yeah, that completely solves the sudden catastrophic disasters. But a lot of agencies don't lose clients in fiery explosions, do they?
No, not usually.
They lose them in this really slow, frustrating fade. The Viral Chili briefing talks heavily about this chronic neglect, like the slow bleed of technical debt and inconsistency.
Yes, technical debt is the absolute silent killer of digital projects.
Let's define that real quick, because technical debt can sound like just another Silicon Valley buzzword.
Oh, for sure.
What does it actually mean for a standard, business website?
It's the compounding interest of laziness, basically.
Oh,
Right. But let's go back to your car analogy. If you skip a $50 oil change because you just don't have time, you save a little money and a little time today. That is taking on debt. If you keep skipping it, eventually the engine seizes and now you have a $5,000 problem.
Right, the debt came due.
Exactly. In the WordPress world, a website is built on a stack. It's kind of like a Jenga tower of different software. You have the core WordPress software, a design theme, and dozens of third-party plugins handling literally everything from contact forms to SEO.
All stacked on top of each other.
Right, and all of those pieces require constant updating just to stay secure and compatible with modern web browsers.
Okay, but I have to challenge this a little bit, though.
Sure, go for it.
If an agency built the Jenga tower, they obviously know how all the pieces fit together.
Yeah.
So why is it so incredibly difficult for an agency developer to just log in once a month and hit the update button? I mean, it sounds like the easiest task in the world.
Well, it sounds easy until you look at the underlying economic conflict within the actual agency. Deferred maintenance happens because new paying client work always competes for an agency's limited time.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. Put yourself in the shoes of an agency owner for a second. You have a team working on a new $75,000 website build that is, say, 2 weeks behind schedule.
The stress is high.
The client is breathing down your neck. Are you honestly going to pull your lead developer off that high-stakes project to run routine plugin updates for an old client who pays like $150 monthly retainer?
No way. You're going to chase the big shiny object. You prioritize the fire right in front of you.
Every single time. And beyond just the economics of it, there is a very real, very paralyzing fear of an update just breaking a live site.
Right, because things clash.
Hitting that update button on a live site is super dangerous if you haven't tested it.
Yeah.
If you update, say, a shipping calculator plugin and it unexpectedly conflicts with the checkout page, crashing the whole system,
Oh boy.
yeah, you suddenly have a massive emergency on your hands that you are absolutely not getting paid extra to fix.
So the agency just avoids the button entirely.
Yeah.
They let the software get outdated to avoid breaking things. But by doing that, the site gets slower, minor bugs start popping up, and the client just feels neglected.
The technical debt just piles up until the engine seizes.
So the white label solution, I'm guessing, resolves that fundamental conflict.
Completely. By owning the technical debt so the agency can literally just wash its hands of it entirely, a dedicated maintenance partner standardizes the update processes. They maintain all that dense documentation.
Which agencies are notorious for not doing.
Right. And they build in-team redundancy. So if the one developer who knew exactly how a specific client site was wired decides to leave the agency, the knowledge doesn't just vanish with them.
The ghost team still knows how it works.
Exactly. The invisible partner isn't distracted by building flashy new websites. Their sole entire purpose for existing is maintaining the ones that are already built.
Okay, so you've got this invisible ghost team perfectly patching software, deflecting all these hackers, and, changing the oil on time. That is undeniably great for the website's health. But doesn't this create, like, a massive new psychological problem for the agency?
How so?
Well, if the client never sees the fires because the bouncer is handling them out at the door, how do they know the agency's actually doing anything?
Ah, I see what you mean.
Because the source document points out that clients feel completely abandoned if they hear nothing. Like, if I hire an agency to build my site in January and they don't reach out until December to ask for a renewal check,
You're going to wonder what you're paying for.
I am going to assume they spent 11 months doing absolutely nothing, even if they were secretly fighting off hackers every single day.
It is the ultimate paradox of invisible work. Doing the work is really only half the battle. The client actually has to perceive the value of the work, but without being stressed by it.
Right. And it gets even worse when you look at how agencies typically bill for in-house maintenance.
Oh, the billing is a nightmare.
When they only touch the site reactively,
Hmm.
when something breaks, it creates these wild budget variances.
Yeah.
1 month, they do a couple of minor tweaks and bill the client, say, $500.
Yeah.
The next month, there's a plugin conflict. The site goes completely down. It takes 10 hours to fix, and suddenly the bill is $4,000.
And that financial variance frustrates business owners more than almost anything else. I mean, it makes the agency feel like an unpredictable liability.
Definitely.
This is exactly why the white label services operate on fixed monthly retainers. And it's why they provide really structured, regular reporting.
Yeah, the reporting strategy highlighted in the Viral Chili doc is actually brilliant.
It's so smart.
They send a monthly digest detailing, security status, backup health, and performance metrics. It's essentially sending a report about all the disasters that did not happen.
Right. It proves a negative, which is incredibly hard to do in business.
It's this low-touch way of saying, hey, we are still guarding the castle. We deflected 42 intrusion attempts and updated 12 vulnerable plugins this month, all while you were sleeping.
It changes the psychological dynamic completely. Communication builds loyalty, but really only when you have something meaningful to communicate. A monthly maintenance report is tangible proof that the agency is actively protecting the client's investment.
And they don't have to scramble to put that report together. The partner does it.
Exactly. And if we zoom out to look at the broader implication for the agency's growth here, this predictability is the actual product being sold.
Okay, say more about that.
Clients aren't really paying for plugin updates, right? They are paying for predictability and peace of mind. So by using a white label partner, the agency turns a wildly fluctuating, stressful cost center into a fixed, scalable product.
Oh, I see.
They can take on 50 new maintenance clients without having to expand their own payroll or, lease a bigger office.
I want to dig into that scalability, actually, because I'm looking at the mechanics of this, and I'm struggling a little bit to understand the margins.
The profit margins.
Yeah. If this ghost team is doing all this heavy lifting, the 24/7 monitoring, the reporting, the updates, how is there any room left for the agency to actually make a profit? Let's peel back the curtain on how this implementation actually functions.
Okay, so the business model relies entirely on wholesale to retail arbitrage.
Break that down for us based on the pricing and the briefing.
Sure. The pricing for these white label services scales based on complexity. So for a basic brochure-style website, the agency might pay the partner a wholesale rate of, say, $50 to $150 a month.
Okay, that's really affordable.
Right. The agency then takes that service, puts their own branding on reports, bundles it into a care plan, and resells it to their client at a retail markup, say, $250 or $300 a month.
Okay, so they're pocketing the difference every month. That makes sense for a basic site. But the document mentions that for e-commerce sites or custom web applications, the wholesale cost jumps significantly.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Like anywhere from $200 to $500 a month, or even more for enterprise. Why the huge jump in price just because a site has a shopping cart?
It all comes down to database complexity.
Okay.
If you have a static website, let's say a local law firm, and an update breaks a page, you can just restore a backup from yesterday. Nothing was lost because the site doesn't really change daily.
Right, the text is the same.
Exactly. But an e-commerce site is highly dynamic. People are creating accounts, they're placing orders, they're leaving reviews, literally every single minute.
Oh, right.
If you break an e-commerce site on a Tuesday afternoon and try to just restore a backup from Monday night, you are wiping out an entire day's worth of actual financial transactions.
Oh, wow. You'd have to call dozens of customers and just tell them their orders vanished.
Yeah.
That would be a complete nightmare.
Exactly why it requires much more sophisticated handling and why the wholesale cost is higher. But, even at $400 wholesale, the agency might resell that enterprise maintenance plan for $1,500 a month,
Creating a massive recurring revenue stream.
while doing absolutely none of the technical labor.
And the partner remains 100% invisible the entire time. Like, the agency keeps the client relationship, they handle the billing, they pass along the reports. The client has no idea a third party is involved.
None at all.
But that leads to, like, the giant elephant in the room question.
Yeah.
The one every single agency owner listening is probably sweating over right now.
The what if.
Yes.
Yes.
What happens when the invisible partner inevitably makes a mistake?
It's the ultimate fear of delegating control, isn't it?
It is. Because if the Ghost team updates a payment gateway plugin and it breaks the checkout page during a Black Friday sale,
The agency is the one on the hook.
the client thinks the agency broke it. So how do you mitigate that kind of catastrophic risk when you aren't the one physically pushing the buttons?
Well, you don't mitigate it by just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
I hope not.
You mitigate it through really rigorous change management. This is the big difference between hiring a random freelancer and a professional white label partner. A reliable partner never, ever updates software directly on the live production website.
They use a staging environment, right?
Yes. Think of a staging environment kind of like a quarantine zone in a laboratory with blast glass. It is an exact private clone of the live website.
Okay.
The partner applies the updates inside this quarantine zone first. They test the functionality, they check the mobile responsiveness, and they run automated scripts to ensure the new code doesn't conflict with literally anything else in the stack.
So if the chemical reaction explodes, it only explodes behind the blast glass.
Exactly.
The public lab is completely untouched.
Precisely. Only after it passes every single test and staging is the update finally pushed to the live site.
Okay, and I have to play devil's advocate here. The internet is chaotic.
Very.
Servers act up, weird edge cases happen all the time. Even with staging, something could slip through and break the live site.
It could, which is why the final safety net is the minute-fast rollback plan.
How does that work?
Because these teams take redundant off-site backups literally minutes before touching the live production environment, they can revert the site to its exact pre-update state almost instantly.
Is it really just like hitting an undo button?
Conceptually, yeah, it is. They keep a snapshot of the files in the database. If the live site shows an error after an update, the system can overwrite the broken files with the snapshot from 5 minutes ago.
That's incredible.
And beyond just the technical safety nets, they provide contractual ones too. They operate under strict service level agreements, or SLAs, that legally define their response times for emergencies.
So if the worst does happen, the agency is the face of the mistake, sure. But the agency isn't the one actually scrambling in a panic to fix it.
Right. The agency can confidently email the client and say, hey, our monitoring system's caught an issue with the latest software patch, and our engineering team is already rolling your site back to the previous stable version. It will be resolved in less than 10 minutes.
Wow. That actually makes the agency look incredibly proactive and professional.
It really does.
You turn a moment of potential panic into a showcase of extreme competence.
And demonstrating extreme competence under pressure is fundamentally what cements a client's loyalty for life. You're shifting the technical risk away from your overworked creative team and onto a dedicated, specialized system built entirely to absorb that risk.
So bringing this all together for you listening,
Hmm.
what we've really uncovered in this deep dive is that retaining your agency's clients isn't really about your flashy design portfolio
No, it's
or
not.
your perfect pitch decks or having the most charismatic account managers on staff. It is fundamentally about invisible, consistent reliability.
Absolutely.
It is about actively preventing that $5,600 a minute downtime before the client ever even smells smoke. It's about systematically managing technical debt so the digital engine doesn't seize up.
Yeah.
It's about proactively proving that you are guarding their castle and keeping their financial costs entirely predictable month after month.
It requires moving from a reactive posture where you only speak to the client when something is broken or they are angry to a truly proactive posture.
Right.
You build a foundation of trust so solid that the client literally never has to think about their website's infrastructure ever again. And attempting to achieve that level of operational perfection is almost impossible if you are relying entirely on an in-house team whose primary job is supposed to be building new things.
Right. You just can't do both well.
No. The white label model absorbs the chaos so the agency can actually focus on growth.
It frees up the mental bandwidth to actually run the business.
It does. And I want to leave you with a thought to mull over because this really extends far beyond just WordPress or web
Oh,
agencies.
for sure.
We've seen how delegating the most critical foundational maintenance can actually make an agency's relationship with its client much stronger. So look at your own business or, even your own life. What operations are you holding on to out of a false sense of ownership?
That's a great question.
What are you afraid to let go of when you should really be passing it off to an invisible partner who can just do it better?
That is a phenomenal question to end on. I mean, are you trying to be the visionary architect, the daily mechanic, and the midnight security guard all at the exact same time?
It's a recipe for burnout.
Because trying to do it all is usually the fastest way to drop the ball and lose the very thing you spent years trying to build. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning how things operate behind the scenes, and we will catch you next time.